because every morning before the sun's up, a bunch of vegetable farmers queue up, rushing to catch the first train into the city. The floors covered in veggies, and once the train pulls in, the farmers run like hell to take a good spot at the market. The average age of these folks is over 70, and some are over 80. In this video, I will capture the entire process.
Last month, I posted a video all about the Chinese peasant class in response to J.D. Vance upsetting the entire Chinese race with his comment about Chinese peasants. And in my video, I explained how I didn't personally find it offensive, and I'm not going to go into why right now, but I'll link that video at the end of this one if you're interested in seeing it. And after I posted that video, another video on the subject of Chinese peasants appeared in my YouTube feed randomly, but I guess the algorithm knew that I was talking about the subject or interested in it. And so I watched this amazing video from a YouTuber by the name of Little Wang. He's a Chinese YouTuber based in China who only has 16 videos on his account, but they're beautiful little videos that present very real snapshots of life in China. And there was one video in particular which I mentioned to you called Farmers on the Subway, 6 a.m. China. And it just completely hypnotized me. It was such a beautiful video. So if you're watching this, thank you so much for sharing that, what you captured, that beautiful footage. I was so moved by what I saw, and I learned so much from it, and it really touched me, and I just really wanted to share it with you guys. So in this video, which once again is called Farmers on the Subway, 6 a.m. China, the creator is depicting exactly that, a hidden subculture in China which nobody sees unless they're up at 5 or 6 in the morning, because before the main rush hour of city workers, there's an earlier rush hour of peasants who commute into the city from the countryside, carrying all their produce to sell that day. And this is a daily ritual. And so Little Wang, the creator, turns up at the subway station 5 in the morning because he's heard about this, and he documents what he sees. And it starts with him waiting outside the station for the first few arrivals.
I chatted with them for a while, and I learned that they are heading to the different places to sell vegetables. From the same location, they are going to everywhere of the city, and at least they have to take the subway for an hour. They have to go to the city to sell their vegetables, so that they can have a chance to sell out their produce.
So these farmers have to travel to different markets around the city to sell their produce. And when I was looking at that subway map, I don't know if any of you guys were thinking that, but it looked instantaneously familiar, even though I've never been to that city before. And I think it was Chongqing, I'm not sure, but there's something about subway maps, isn't it, that look the same everywhere you go, even though they're different. Do you know what I mean? There's a sort of like a visual code in the design of subway maps that you, even when you've never been there before and you have no idea how to get where you're going, you look at that map and it all just makes sense because of that visual code. Yeah, it's something that I really enjoy as when I travel, when I go anywhere on holidays. When I'm exploring a new city, I feel like I need to conquer that subway map and get to know at least a few key routes. Anybody else relate to this? Anyway, I'm digressing here. Back to the video.
便宜斤？
我都是卖2块多，我不谈贵的。那个那些小伙子吃了也很不用心。
自己种的？
都是一种的，我备着过了，他回来有时候买点的货都是这个价钱，我不会乱买。
你们是去哪里卖的？
我们去龙溪3个，那个跟一餐呐，好吃。
我知道，4个。
啊，3块钱。
哦，好。
你看嘛，那是钱，那是价钱，那是公斤。
行。
好。
It's so cute how she's showing off those oranges so proudly, isn't it? But yeah, these people grow their own produce on the farms that they own, and they bring it in daily to sell in the city. And I love that. I love that about China, because here in the UK and North America and much of Europe, the big supermarket chains completely dominate, and there's no room for independence, or it's tough for independents to compete with them. But in China and much of Asia, there is still a culture of independent farmers selling their own produce direct to consumer, and I think that's lovely. You get such a variety and more freshness and better value as well, right? And it's just so nice to support real people, when you're face to face with the people who grew the produce, as opposed to faceless corporations.
The elderly people are lining up in an orderly manner to enter the station, forming a straight line. Their vegetables don't need to go through the security checks, and they don't have to pay to enter the station. Because in Chongqing, subway are free for those who are over 65, and most of the older people here are above that age.你们怎么不进去啊？你们怎么不进去啊？要进。哦，太重了，休息一会。The woman with orange clothes, she's about 80 years old, but I can't remember the exact number. And I asked them why they don't go in. They said they are tired, couldn't walk. Okay, let them rest.
Doesn't it break your heart to see these two in their 80s having to rest because they're struggling with the weight? It's so sad that they have to lug all of that every day. But they're smiling though, aren't they? So I just have such deep respect and admiration for them, for their strength and their spirit. It kind of reminds me of when I was on holidays in Sicily. I went to visit a small hilltop village called Agrigento, and I remember walking up the steps behind this elderly woman, probably the same age as these two, carrying bags of shopping up this really steep stairway that went up the hill back to where she lived, presumably. And I offered to help her, and she didn't want a hand. She was really independent. She was so strong. She didn't struggle at all. Like normal people struggle even just to walk up those steps carrying nothing. But I thought, wow, the fact that she obviously does this all the time at her age and with all that weight, like she was big. I couldn't believe it. And yeah, there's something to be said about being old but keeping on going. Do you know what I mean? Like here in the West, that is the West, that's Italy, but Italy has actually, the small towns in Italy have a lot in common with Asia in a weird kind of way, the way they live. But here, people retire from work in their 60s and their time is spent gardening and going on cruises and eating and drinking themselves to oblivion. I think there's something about like no longer having a sense of purpose or responsibility and just nothing but leisure time versus these people we see in the video who they have to keep going right to the very end. That is their daily purpose and it keeps them really strong.
他38，
他83，
看着很年轻啊。
保养得好。
Then I was on the subway and I found that both sides were filled with vegetable baskets I couldn't get through. I was stuck in the middle. Troublesome. Those are the regular passerby on the last carriage.
前方到站高石塔，列车将打开左侧车。
Isn't that an incredible sight? What I would give to, I would just love to be in that carriage with them and experience that. And the way they carry those huge baskets without moaning, like, oh my God, I'd be like moaning. I'd be like, oh, I can't carry weight like that. And I'm fit. And, well, actually, when I was like 10, I used to play the cello. And I was going to boarding school. And on the weekends, I would have to walk to the train station from the school. And it was like a half-hour walk. And my cello was in this big hard case that weighed a ton. Like the cello was heavy and the case was heavy too. And the thing was nearly as tall as me. And I had it on a shoulder strap. And I was fine with that because I loved playing the cello so much. And I was so proud to carry it that the weight was nothing to me. I mean, it was heavy. It wasn't easy. It was really cumbersome. But I just bore it proudly and happily. So when you love what you're doing, the weight is nothing, especially when you do it all the time. Because I had to lug that cello all the time. I lugged it all around the school every day as well. So yeah, you don't feel the weight anymore. And even putting the cello aside, even my leather satchel. This was in the early 80s, right? The late 70s, early 80s. That's how old I am. I was born in 1972. We carried leather satchels at school. Or some people had briefcases. So, those were the modern ones, the briefcases, the firm briefcases. But the more old school kids, we had those soft leather satchels, and they weighed a ton. And they were full of books, and the books were really heavy too. And I had calluses all up. Did any other Gen Xers remember having calluses on your hand from carrying your heavy satchel or briefcase every day for school? I don't think kids have to carry loads of heavy books anymore, do they? It's all on the computer now. You guys don't know how lucky you are. But yeah, as a kid, I was used to carrying lots of weight. But now, the older I get, the wimpier I get, and more lazy I get. I hate carrying stuff now. Anyone else out there relate to this? It was tough for you in your childhood, but now you're like so lazy and wimpy.
前方到站复市，列车将打开左侧车门。
看你好穷啊！
还行还行，都这样。看你手。怎么了？
把一款痛了，我去闯款，把一款痛了。
疼？
他说他是苦，那些纹路粗糙。
颠颠簸簸的多了，把一款痛了。
哎，不痛不痛，那
那是劳动人民的手。
劳动人民的手，是的，是的。
什么工作？
我生物，我是生物的。
你说的话，我还都听不懂。
我说普通话是不是？我说的普通话，你们听不懂。几点钟睡的觉？
几点睡的觉啊？
对对对，几点睡的觉
11点吧。
11、2点。
不要搬菜耶。
要准备菜。
要准备菜，弄到11、2点。几点钟起来的呢？4点，睡4个小时。
卖菜是最辛苦的。
最辛苦的。
啊，放回来还打针了门票费还得去卖的话，就打针了费要付出来嘛。
辛苦辛苦。
啊，有小到啊洗啊，对呀，就加上有个干的啊。
你们的婆婆来爷爷是做什么的？不是搞农业的吧？
没有没有。
卖菜的人没用的。
他说卖菜的人没有用。
打工也不要，就随便做哪都不要，他只有点本事了，就是做点菜呀，好吃一吃小，那些三不是辣椒，好用不完的大些了嘛。
你们这全部卖完能赚多少？你们这全部卖完能赚多少钱？能卖多少钱
40-50块
？40-50块。
哎，晓得。
我2个有100块钱。
全部卖完。
那种菜你等得到不？那种菜你没看过？
没见过。
野菜。
哦，野菜。打工，在哪里呢？开车。修三轮车。
Are those two not just the most adorable old couple ever? Do they remind any of you guys of your grandparents? But yeah, the love you can see that they have for each other is so beautiful, isn't it? You can really feel the love, and the fact that they're in this endeavor together every day. Yeah, it's so sweet. But did you hear? She said that they only got 4 hours sleep, and they're making this journey, lugging all this stuff. I would collapse. Oh my god, I'm such a wuss by comparison. I need a minimum 7 hours sleep, ideally 8. Like if I get less than 7 hours sleep, I'm wrecked all day. I'm just useless. Yeah, oh my god, it's so shameful. And did you hear when she said farmers are useless people? So humble. And no, it's not true. I'm the useless one. You guys are amazing. The salt of the earth. That's the expression we have in the UK for these people. The salt of the earth.
看手，看那个快车，到时候你要莫搞搞笑。快车就往里上转车，转上线。
Okay, it's okay. On Chinese social media, there's been discussion about whether those farmers should be allowed on subway. Some people are against it because it affects the appearance of our city. Do you think it should be banned or not? I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think it should be banned? Thank you. As we get closer to the city center, more and more regular passengers were boarding the train.
Did you see that disdainful look on the lady's face? The regular commuter, the urbanite. And I can't believe that this discussion is taking place, that he mentions that people are asking whether these peasant farmers should be barred from the subway because it affects the appearance of our city. You know what though? This is what I was talking about in that video I mentioned at the beginning of this one about the Chinese peasant class, that they are like second-class citizens in China and Hong Kong. The peasant class, which is a lot of them are from the lost generation, the boomer generation that was sent off by Mao to work on farms. They when they got reintegrated into the cities, they've been treated largely like second-class citizens, and these people are farmers, laborers, manual laborers, factory workers, migrant workers. What they call migrant workers in China are people who, because China is like the size of Europe, right, who migrate from one part of China, from the rural villages into the cities to work, and they are very low status, and they don't have the same rights as the urbanistas. So yeah, there's basically two worlds in China living side by side, and the peasant class is huge. But on the international stage, it's like invisible, because it's not the image that this proud nation wants to push, that rose to prosperity and became so technologically advanced and so sophisticated. So that's the conversation that he's talking about, this question of whether they should be barred from the subway because they affect the appearance of the city. It's sad, isn't it? But yeah, that's the reality in China. These peasants are an embarrassing reminder of their recent past. You know, I'm talking about the way the urbanites look at them, because China's transformation from a peasant society to an urban society was only really in the last 30 years. That's nothing.
Now we are transferring. On the last train, we nearly went from the first station to the last, sitting for about an hour. I already felt worn out. But those farmers have to do this often, and they are older than me, so I shouldn't act tired. And I also want to carry the basket to experience it. After transferring, we rode for 6 more stations. And finally, we arrived at Guanyin Bridge. The farmers began their final sprint. They ran as hell as they could. Boom.
我开一会儿哈。
好，怎么弄？
先举脚，来，先举脚。
啊，
从我那个。
天哪！
Wow, wasn't that incredible? The strength of these people and their energy and their zest for life running across the city like that before the sun rises. And there's something as beautiful as it was, there's something so dystopian about it, seeing the way they were crossing that busy street among all that traffic, carrying those shoulder poles with the baskets full of produce and getting drenched in the rain. We don't even like getting drizzled on here when we're not having to carry anything, never mind lugging all that, running through the traffic in the pouring rain. I remember in Hong Kong, when I first visited there as a child, after I was born in Hong Kong and I left at the age of 3, grew up in the West, and then I went back there for my first visit around the age of 10. And I remember seeing these, in Hong Kong they called them Heng Haiyan, country bumpkins, or gulay, those were street workers. They were all peasants from China, and you'd see them in the city, but they were there, but they were like kind of invisible at the same time. And I never stopped to think about their lives. But there was also a boat dwelling society when I first visited Hong Kong in 81, who lived in houseboats in the main harbour, Victoria Harbour, and they're not there anymore. The government cleared them all out. But it was like a peasant society of fishing families who sold their fish to urbanites. My mum used to take us there to buy fish. It was incredible. You'd go down into their boat with them, and I remember there were occasions where they took us on a little boat ride, and it was amazing that you'd buy your dinner from these peasants in their boats, and they were able to live on that money that they made from fishing. And can we just stop to appreciate how Little Wang chose Bach's Air on a G string, that classical piece that was used in the Hamlet cigar commercials back in the 70s and 80s here in the UK. I don't know if he's seen those commercials because it's so fitting. In those ads, something would go terribly wrong and the guy, his car would break down or something in the countryside and it'll start pouring with rain, and then he'd get out a cigar and the music will play doom, doom, doom as he lights up doom, 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 doom. Of course, nowadays, Air on a G string would make people think of something else entirely, because a G string is no longer a string on a violin, but something you wear. So again, Little Wang's editing there is amazing. The way he ends with that grand orchestral finale as they finally arrive at the market. And the day begins, the working day begins. That was just the commute. But yeah, wasn't that a beautiful video though? You can watch the full video. I'll put a link to the video in the description if you'd like to see the whole thing. So next time you're in Asia and you get a chance to visit a market, do drop in and show the traders some love and respect. They so deserve it. Especially after what the media did, the way they demonized wet markets after COVID, which was totally unfair, because we all know it had nothing to do with the market. These markets are where you get the very best produce, the freshest goods. And it's a gourmet thing to go to one of these markets. People in China buy their meal just before they cook it. It's just a different way of consuming, and your money goes to the farmers. So yeah, I think they got a really unfairly bad rap, and they're a wonderful thing, these markets. And next time you hear someone say the word peasant, I don't know about you, but I cannot take it as an insult. It's a high compliment. These people are incredible. And look at this. I'm wearing a Sicilian peasant shirt here. That's another type of peasant, isn't it? The Italian fisherman. So yeah, I mean, it's not really a Sicilian. This is from the high street, but I feel like this is the aesthetic, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know why our society holds office workers in such high regard. Sitting there in your office wear, inputting data, eating biscuits all day, but not really doing anything beneficial to anybody. What makes you so much better than a peasant? And not many people today realize this, but if you were to go up to a Chinese boomer and look at their passport, back in the day, if you open up their passport, underneath their name, it said peasant in Chinese characters, obviously the Chinese word for peasant. But yeah. So I'm going to wrap up here, and I hope you enjoyed these clips as much as I did. And once again, I'm going to put the link to the full video in the description. And thank you again to Little Wang who shot this video. And do leave me your comments. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button, that little bell. Any likes, comments, shares, any engagement, it all helps me to get my content more widely seen. And as a new YouTuber, I really appreciate anything that you can do. Thank you so much. Oh, and if you enjoyed this video, do give this one a watch too. This is one I was talking about earlier, more about the Chinese peasant class, the history of the lost generation who got sent to work on the farms, and how they got integrated into the cities in the last 20-30 years. Yeah, do give it a watch. Thank you.